Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV. We are here at 8th Cloud Expo. Who'd have thunk it? We've had 8 of these things. One of my favorite partnerships now, brand new for this show. We have Microsoft with us in the middle here, Hameed Mohammed, and we have Darren Stahl with us from Rise Partners. We're going to hear about what the partnership is, but I want to start with Hameed, if I may, because partnerships is not necessarily the way that everybody thinks Microsoft operates, Hameed. So orientate us on that. What's going on with Microsoft in the cloud, and why do we have Rise Partners right next to you?
So, Jeremy, I disagree to start with.
Oh, that's the spirit.
Because over 96% of Microsoft revenue today comes from partners.
I was just going to say that part.
Okay, thank you. So, we have our own cloud services today, and we're getting more into that as we go forward. We've got Azure, we've got Office 365, Dynamics, and several more. But then not many people are aware that we are well aware that business is not driven entirely by online services as a public cloud. There is a huge world out there. Customers are looking for someone local, regional, with more hands-on touch. So we are well aware of that. And I'd like to say that we have about 13,000 hosting partners worldwide who are taking these cloud services and other services to all segments of the customers worldwide. And Rise is one of those partners. And in fact, one of the key partners we have at Microsoft that's enabling us in taking these cloud services through a channel. And in fact, I'd like to say that with Azure Office 365, we cover the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, delivered from Microsoft. And then with partners such as Rise, we also enable similar services, infrastructure as a service, platform, SaaS, and any other that will come in future in the model I mentioned earlier, where the customers are looking for high-touch flexibility and control in a local way.
All right, well, let's try this out from a Rise Partners perspective. Darren, just so that now I have been educated, which is quite right by Hameed, let's follow it up from your end then. Tell us about Rise and how it fits into this partnership.
Absolutely. So Rise, we have a platform called Data Center On Demand, or DCOD, that we've engineered and built on top of the Microsoft Hyper-V or Dynamic Data Center platform. What that DCOD, or Dynamic Data Center or Data Center On Demand platform, enables the channel to do is offer a wide variety of solutions, infrastructure as a service, as well as being able to build platform and software as a service to their customer base. I mean, traditionally what we've seen is that a lot of SMBs, mid-market organizations purchase, acquire their solutions and have them implemented by channel partners. Traditionally, the cloud has kind of taken that channel out of the value stream. We've put that back in and enabled them the control of being able to provision these services for their customers, add their value-added services, and at the end of the day, control that relationship with their customer and be able to offer cloud services.
Sounds like a real win-win for SMBs, yes? And that's one of your hugest markets.
And I would say it's somehow I'm disagreeing with you a lot, or maybe adding to what you're saying. So here I'm not disagreeing, I'm adding to what you're saying. So it's real win, and real, I would say, because most of the conversation we hear out there in the cloud, on the blogs right. Is about cloud does this for you, cloud does that for you, but there are no specifics behind it, mostly. So what Rise is doing is something very specific. If there is a systems integrator today, let's pick a place, a little town in Kansas. Right. Rise's solution, Rise's service can connect with that systems integrator in a small town where he or she can just add cloud services in a snap and be a cloud service provider. Right. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So it's real, is what you're saying.
It's real, is what I'm saying.
Real cloud, not slideware or anything else.
So, Hyper-V without hype.
I like that. Hyper-V without hype. You've said that before. And talking of, hype and things, they won what award was it?
Yes, they won the Hosting Partner of the Year award just about a few months ago.
Not bad going.
No, it's not bad. It's great.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Good start. Were you personally behind that, Darren?
I was one part of a much larger organization. We work, very hard to deliver solutions for our partners, and really partnered with, key organizations to be able to deliver world-class solutions, and it's shown by the recognition from Microsoft with the awards that we've won. and from the feedback that we hear from our partners as well and the success they're having.
Right. And in fact, Jeremy, if I add again, augment. Now it's augmenting. So I just happened to watch a 3-minute video Andy showed me, Rise's CEO. They have a case study, an interesting case study, a law firm getting on a cloud service provider for a law firm.
Right.
Law firms. It's called
Lawcloud.
It's amazing how a guy who is going after a vertical has built a cloud service for that vertical by not owning any data center real estate, not owning any infrastructure at all, and he's a cloud service provider for a premium law cloud. So that's awesome.
And I think it demonstrates that not only VARs or managed service providers can utilize our offerings, but ISVs and software vendors who are offering a solution can do that for their customers. And it may not always be a multi-tenant solution either. I mean, it may not be SaaS enabled, but they're able to still bring their product to the cloud. And I think that's the power of what we offer, is so much flexibility, but still all that security. For instance, the legal vertical, very conscious about security, and our platform was built with that in mind.
Now, imagine that I'm listening to this video, because millions of people are going to be listening to it, watching it, and they're going to say, okay, I want to reach out to these guys. I obviously know, I'm not going to reach out to this partnership. Just give me a start. Who should they go to, Hameed? Should they come to Microsoft? Should they go to Rise? How would they get involved?
So, of course, they should connect with Rise. And then even if they come to Microsoft's website, we do have presence of Rise on there. We list our hosting partners, what they offer, in an easy, intuitive way so they can get to the services they're looking for. So essentially, we target our ecosystem, over 500,000 of those in our ecosystem. And that's how we do. And of course, Rise has their own marketing campaign, and we also work with Rise to drive market awareness. Does that answer your question?
It does answer my question. I was wondering, a supplementary though, is if we've got a metric, just a dollar metric, you know how people love dollars. Hameed, do we have a dollar metric for this ecosystem? How big is this business in the great scheme of things? Any clue?
The business of...
Everything that we've talked about, how big a chunk of business is that? If I could own Microsoft, which seems unlikely, or if I could own Rise, which is just as unlikely, what would I be getting a chunk of?
I would let Darren answer that
Sure.
question.
If you look at the statistics from Gartner and some of the analysts out there, they're putting it in the billions of dollars, and that's specific to the channel in and of itself. I think managed service providers, VARs, and ISVs there's a lot of business out there to be made. If you look at the market, cloud enables small businesses very easy access to technology without having to blow their complete budget up front. There's a tremendous opportunity for partners out there, and it's frankly, for businesses, VARs, ISVs, in the millions. From an opportunity over time about the kind of business they can make. We're not talking, hundreds of dollars here. We're talking tens of thousands, if not, millions for some of the larger organizations.
Final question, because I've always been very keen on optimism, and I quite like ebullience. You are both optimistic and ebullient. That is cloud-driven, right? It is, because this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Amplify.
Oh, okay. So, there are two things really I'd like to share. One is there's this debate about, is it going to be infrastructure as a service? Is it going to be a platform as a service or a SaaS? What is going to be in future? Some people debate infrastructure as a service is dead. Some people debate platform as a service is hype. But the reality is, as I am on the street talking to our partners and customers, I believe firmly that everything is going to grow big time in future. And personally, I think I'm more realistic. I do not believe in hype, but what I'm seeing out there is there is going to be market for PaaS, there's going to be market for SaaS, and there is going to be market for infrastructure as a service.
Everything's alive.
Exactly, that's one. And number two is I'm just personifying a systems integrator sitting in a small town in Kansas. What does it mean to him or her, right? The market says there are going to be billions to be made. Yes, agreed. But then it's a fantasy if you think that systems integrator can make $1 billion in a year.
This is worth saying.
So the reality is really for that systems integrator to step back and see what margins exist today in his or her
in the real world.
in the real world.
Business, yes.
So obviously, it's a conversation that person has to have with Rise partners or other partners like that. And number two is the old world of doing things or going about business is not going to work anymore. For example, if that systems integrator's business is all about accountants, say his customer base is mostly, say, CPAs.
Right.
So what is it that he or she can bring as a trusted advisor to the CPAs as a service and make money and make those lives better? So I think the thinking has to come from an end customer's need perspective, and then use these cloud services tools in order to solve that need.
Absolutely.
Versus trying to figure out, oh, there's something happening in cloud.
Yeah, so it
there
must
are
be,
there
my
are
troubles are over.
exactly there are billions to be made, and nothing is going to happen that way. Exactly.
My bucket.
So at the
cloud
end of the day, that conversation has to happen with the end customer.
Yeah.
Let's say the CPA is running some software. How can that software be moved from a desktop to a server and delivered as a service? What is the ecosystem I need to build, and then go make money around that, versus reading Gartner IDC reports and fantasizing? That's not going to cut.
You summed it up perfectly. I call this optimism anchored in reality, and it's the best kind of optimism.
And the one last thing I'd add to that, it's not just, obviously the financial gain for a reseller is very important, but I think it also enables them access to a broader range of customers. That customer is now coming back to them every year, so they're able to upsell more services and managed services to them. And the other piece is that they get the control of the customer, as opposed to the cloud ecosystem traditionally not selling through that customer. So again, a lot of revenue would be made, but I think it's also broadening their customer base and having that customer come back to them. Not only is it an operating expense for the customer, but it's a reoccurring revenue for that partner year over year. Makes their business much more consistent than the typical peaks and valleys of selling the traditional software and hardware have been.
Well, amazing amounts of food for thought from both of you. So if this resonates with you out there on the World Wide Web, then you need to maybe go to www.rise.co and start there. We'll know how to get to Microsoft. That should be even easier. We want to thank both you, Hameed Mohammed and Darren.
And if you do not remember the URL, you can big it.
Darren Stahl. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us out there.